Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. I just found out that Twitter has come up with a plan for the midterms in 2022 to basically, how can I put it, suppress what they refer to as misinformation. Now, I had read this in Breitbart, but I could not find the article. I read it on my phone. It was on my phone, and I couldn't see. I was like, man, okay, I'm going to talk about this. And read the article. And then when I came back to do the video, I couldn't find the article again. I tried to look it back up, couldn't find the article again. I don't know what happened to it. So you won't see it in a link of it in the description box below. But I did read the article about what Twitter is trying to do. And so I'm not making this up, but I just wanted to say something about this whole idea of Twitter trying to suppress what they refer to as misinformation. First, I find it interesting that they would come up with these types of means to try to suppress what they consider to be misinformation. Why is it every time it's the conservatives is always misinformation? Come on now. To me, that makes no sense, because what you are implying is that all conservatives are lying. That makes no sense whatsoever. My thing is this. Why don't the left just come up with a viable argument against the conservatives or the Republicans? Come up with something that will at least cause people to be like, you know what? You got a point there, sir. I don't think the Republicans are really looking at this. I don't think the Republicans are really focusing on this. I think this is something that they need to talk about. But what do? They come up with this. We're going to suppress misinformation. Does anyone even know what misinformation is and disinformation is? I mean, do most people even know what that really means? And so I find this interesting and outright frustrating, the way I see it, for Twitter to be going through these means to try to suppress information for the midterms. Now, here's another thing that's interesting to me too. Twitter is a privately owned platform, correct? Privately owned platform. I think it's like they make billions of dollars a year. If it's not billions, it's hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So clearly it's a capitalist platform owned by a super capitalist, for lack of a better word. Why is it with these super capitalists, are they supporting the left? Why is it that you're supporting the very political ideology that hates you? Most people, politicians and people on the left, despise capitalism, except when it's working for them, but they despise it. So the question I have is, why is it that these super capitalist platforms and super capitalist corporations are supporting the left? We want to suppress information. We want to keep people from spreading misinformation, which is clearly talking about conservatives. Why is it that they're supporting a political ideology that's against them, that's detrimental to them? And this is my theory. I think that the reason why they do that is because they don't want the competition from people on the right. You may ask, what do I mean? Well, if everybody adheres to the left in terms of politics, because the left believe that the government is God and believes that the government is the answer to all of our problems, and that if everyone looks to the government and becomes dependent upon the government, then they don't have to worry about anything. The government does everything for them. So therefore, if everyone is dependent upon the government for everything, food, whatever, education, whatever, if they're dependent on the government for everything, then they will not initiate any ideas to create businesses and corporations or whatever that would compete with platforms like Twitter and Google and Facebook and all the rest. So my theory is they want everyone to depend on the left and get connected to the left, okay, so that they won't come up with ideas that would compete with them. That's my only theory, because it makes no sense to support a worldview that basically is a detriment to you. Just saying. Just saying. But this whole idea of misinformation from Twitter is ridiculous. It's silly. It's always misinformation when it comes to conservatives. It's always misinformation when it comes to conservatives. So here we go again with Twitter. I'm going to end this video on this note. I said this before. I had gotten a Twitter account years ago, but I never really, when I say years ago, I mean like in 2010, whatever. And I never really paid attention. I never really did anything with it. Okay. And then I went and recently decided to get back on and refresh myself on there and so forth, because supposedly Elon Musk was supposed to try to buy him out or whatever. But that didn't fall through. That didn't fall through. So I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to be bothered anymore, because I've kind of felt within that was what was going to happen. It wasn't going to fall through. I kept feeling it. I was like, man, I don't think Elon, but yeah, this looks bright, but deep in my heart, I feel like something bad is about to happen. And my feelings were right. It didn't work. And as far as I know, there's still a bunch of nonsense going on between Elon Musk and the Twitter people, whatever. But it's just crazy. So I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I don't even care. It's my best bet so far right now is to do what I'm doing right now and keep doing what I'm doing right now and giving my views on these political platforms as I do now, because Twitter is out the book for me. I'm through with them. I don't even want to have to deal with them, because if I got to keep doing stuff like that, if I got to watch every little single thing, I do that on YouTube and Facebook. If I got to watch every little single thing that I do on Twitter, then what's the point? So now they're going to start this back up again. It's silly, people. It's silly. It's really, really silly. What really is misinformation? What is disinformation? Do anybody know what that is in the ending of this video? Not questioning you guys whether or not you know what it is, but you get my point. I'm being a little sarcastic there, but does anyone really know what the term really means? So here we go again. We know what they're going to do. They're going to suppress all conservative voices because they don't have a real legitimate argument. Come up with a legitimate argument, left. Come up with a legitimate argument. Stop with the January 6th nonsense that's been debunked. Stop with this, Biden is the best thing in the world. Come on. You on the ground level, good and well he's screwing up. So let's just come up with a real argument that we can talk about. How about that? What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all, and see you again.